My family traveled the world. It was the 1960s, the jet age. We moved from New York to Mexico, Nassau, Florida, Scotland, London. My father's business took us places we'd never heard of. But our reality was anything but glamorous. We left without warning, without explanation. My father had secrets. My mother kept them, and we suffered the consequences. Cocktails, gangsters, betrayal, rebellion. It sounds like a movie script. But this is the story of my life. It was the opposite of Hollywood.
Anthologies about motherhood are usually written in glowing tones as grown children pay tribute to their mother's unselfish devotion and love. Moms who don't deeply love their children are the stuff of horror stories until now. The new book, How I Learned How to Cook, is a study of mother-daughter relationships that have gone seriously wrong, and the author Margo Perin joins us to talk about it. Welcome, good to see you.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Sounds more like, what is it, Joe Crawford, Mommy Dearest kind of approach here. Why?
Well, it started with my own story about my mother. I had a very, what I thought was an untraditional relationship with my mother, where there were a lot of problems in the relationship. And so I started out by writing a story about it, and I thought what I was doing was writing a story about all the horrible things she did to me, just to get it out. But what happened was something very interesting as I was writing it. I realized that I had a much deeper question about whether we have the ability to love, even if our mothers don't love us. And that led me to a much wider view of what had happened with my mother. So after I wrote my story, I started looking around to see if other people had written stories about the shadow side of their relationships. And I found that actually there never had been a collection of stories about that. The collections that existed were really about the more idealized, reverent stories about mothers.
And the ones you would buy for Mother's Day gifts.
Exactly, exactly. And that always made me feel very lonely and isolated because my relationship was nothing like that. So I started looking around also at book-length memoirs to see if any writers had written about that. And I did find a few where the theme was touched on. And I then set out to create a collection.
The Dead Can Kill and Stories from Jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what that is I got a grant from the Creative Work Fund to do a project with people who were incarcerated. And I was already teaching writing, creative writing in the jail, and I've always had a focus on personal narrative because people who are in jail have very little of a voice in our society. And a lot of really negative stereotypes are projected onto them. The vast majority of people who are incarcerated are there because of poverty and a lack of resources and a lack of social support. So that book, Only the Dead Can Kill, is all personal narratives by men and women who were incarcerated. And I also created a CD of some of them reading out their work, and it's in poetry and prose form.
Yeah. All right.
And the CD was recorded, I did some of it in the jail with a video camera. I had to cover the camera because you're not allowed to film in jail.
Oh,
but I
okay.
used it for the audio recording.
Yeah.
And then I also did frequent readings when people got out of jail. We would read in bookstores and community centers and libraries and so on, universities. And so I did some recording there. And then I also did a recording at a couple of people's homes.
Yeah.
And it's deliberately raw.
I'm moving far away from home. No one will know where I have gone. I have no choice, but I must leave from all the love of family. Been moving in and out and back and forth to prison. say I need to learn, so I slowly count the days.
This is my story. This is my song.
Please show me the name inmate on a birth certificate.
The classroom glares like a radiation chamber, rectangular funnels of light ricocheting off walls of concrete and steel, between more concrete and steel, the stratosphere of this county jail. Chalkboard littered with broken psalms, gang emblems. Stories turn the classroom into a lighthouse, show how a pencil can be used as a laser beam to illuminate the scars of those thrashing about in the waters. Incarceration is being caught in shark teeth, 3 rows pointing inward, no time off for time served, no possibility of parole. Another tooth pulling each one of the men and women closer to the throat, closer to being swallowed up. Our societies disappeared.
The first song that I'm going to play, these are all, well, all but one are original tunes, and this one's called Happy Blues. My voice, which isn't the best at normal times, but I just had a cold all week, so luckily I was able to make it tonight because I didn't want to miss this for the world. Okay, so this next tune is an instrumental, and it's called Before and After the Fires.